The Ravens have a new coach. Lots of weird news going on with the Ravens, and the Pro Bowl starts on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 297 of the Purple Rain podcast. The Brent Urban episode, the Kelly Gregg, Timmy Jernigan, Art Jones, James Jones episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you for spending your Friday evening with us on this lovely Friday evening. First and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast. Follow this guy over here on Instagram or on X at Sutton Death. Me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod or on X at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Use code PRP for 20% off your whole entire order and free international shipping. The best deal on the internet. So far, it's the end of the week. How has your week been? So give it to me.
You know, week has been going pretty well so far. By the way, let me know if you can hear me okay, Alex. Can you hear me okay? All right,
You're
cool.
good?
And chat, if you guys could let me know as well if you guys can hear me because I know that I've had some complaints about that in the past couple of weeks. So let me know if you can hear me first and foremost. But week's been good so far. I was kind of like trugging along the week, but then I got hit with some news, some very disturbing news, which we'll get into in a little bit. Uh, you know, Stuff you never really want to hear, especially coming out of your own camp. But other than that, the week was pretty good. I'm completely over the Bills' loss. The playoff loss is in my rearview mirrors now. I noticed that last night when I was actually watching NFL films. I was watching the last two Super Bowls, like the mic'd up documentaries of those, or the NFL films version of it. And I was just like, I was watching the Chiefs, man, and like, I'm thinking like, and thank you guys for letting me know that we're good here with the audio. But I was watching it and I was thinking to myself, like, damn, the Chiefs are a dynasty because of three players, right? And those three players that they happen to have mic'd up for both of those Super Bowls: Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelsey, Chris Jones. Those three guys right there, I mean, the stuff that they're saying on the sidelines, on the fields, making sure their guys are ready to go, making sure that everybody's in lockstep on the same exact page and locked in at all times. I just don't see that anywhere else in the league. You know what I mean? In the Eagles versus Chiefs Super Bowl a couple of years ago, you had Patrick Mahomes screaming, yelling at his offensive line, telling, "Hey, we need to turn up the intensity because the defensive line is more intense than us right now." Like really getting in guys' faces. Travis Kelsey, after I think Sky Moore after he scores a touchdown, he's like telling them like, "Oh yeah, we need more, we need more, we need more." Like it's never enough, until the mission is complete. And like that's just the mentality. Chris Jones on the sideline telling all his guys to take a seat on the sideline because they're getting ready to go back out there for a crucial drive, to try to stop them. Just those type of things lets you know why that team is in the position that they are in so consistently. And I'm kind of ranting right now. Just had to get that off my chest. But other than that, the week's been pretty good. Alex, how about you?
Yeah, same here. Really can't complain. I've kind of been over this Ravens loss. Honestly, just not to get into it, I've kind of lost touch with this Ravens team over the past couple of days because I've kind of just done some sit back and thinking. We'll get all into that,
Mm,
but like I said, I'm feeling good about next year. No matter what that brings, I still think we have a really good team, but I'm not really that hyped for the Super Bowl. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even watch the Pro Bowl last night. Um,
I didn't even know it was
I guess
on.
been getting that topic. What's up?
I said I didn't even know it was on. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I just knew from like Bleacher Report saying, "Hey, Pro Bowl games are on at 7 p.m." Um, it sucks because I used to love the Pro Bowl. I really did. I loved it. It's when you get to see all the superstars together, but now it's like just one big joke, like mascot hands to catch a football. What are we
Oh my
doing, dude?
gosh,
You
bro.
know what I
When
mean?
I saw that Justin Jefferson put on the mascot hands and go out there and try to make a catch. And then after that, he's got to like jump over a little platform to make a diving catch. It's just like, bro, what are we really doing here? Like this is just a big participation bowl. That's really
Yeah.
all it is. It's pathetic. But go ahead, my bad.
Yeah. No, it's right. I'm right there with you. I'll be watching probably Sunday that the flag football game. I do like that, but the whole games, man, it's just not doesn't feel right. Um, don't even have it anymore. There's no way that they're pulling in enough fans to go there to these games, for it to even matter. So give these guys their bonuses and keep it pushing. But I'm kind of feel like we're on the same page with this Pro Bowl game stuff right now. We're not really feeling it.
Yeah, we're not at all, not at all. Because I mean, like you said, there's really no point. I tweeted it last night. It was kind of a joke, but honestly, all good jokes contain true shit. Excuse my language. Kyle Van Noy was out there, and he just, I don't know, part of it just looked goofy. It just looked goofy. You know what I mean? I've tweeted it was like a humiliation ritual almost. You got Justin Jefferson putting on mascot hands out there, like just parading himself around, like, oh, I'm Justin Jefferson. I didn't make the Super Bowl, but I'm gonna show up here to the Pro Bowl and put my true skills on display by putting on big goofy mascot hands and trying to catch a football. It's like, what are we really doing here, man? Like, there's no competition, there's no fire in it. Like, I remember the times back in the day before Sean Taylor passed, right? When he was in the Pro Bowl and he was out there hitting, you know what I mean? Like, guys would actually be playing physical football, and it meant something. It really meant something. I miss going through the progressions of the top 4 AFC and NFC quarterbacks throughout a progression of a game and seeing which one performed the best, which one brought it home. And in a lot of those games in the old school Pro Bowl days, they used to come down to the wire, man. They used to actually feel like something. Now it feels like absolutely nothing. It feels like a joke. Like you said, it feels like a disgrace, a humiliation ritual, for lack of better words, coming from me. But it's just, yeah. Dre says here, it looked like they were filming something inside of Dave and Buster's. LOL. It's
Yeah,
a joke. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's a great way to put it. It's like one of those games they have there. They just got an unlimited card with tokens on it. Just keep on swiping it and playing. I don't know. What has our game become? It's just that's what it is now. And they used to have it after the Super Bowl, so even the Super Bowl players could even play in it. So I don't know what they plan on doing, bro. Put it back to Hawaii. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know how you fix it. My thing is, I prefer the NBA All Star Weekend, like the whole dunk contest, 3-point contest. I don't care for the game, but I think that's a lot more entertaining to watch than whatever these skilled Pro Bowl games are. That
Yeah.
it's just not it.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. What I will say though, I mean, if they're going to continue doing Pro Bowl weekend like this, why not try to market it towards the younger audience? Why not put it on Nickelodeon, right? Like you've been doing for all these other games. Like market it to a younger audience because I feel like that is the main nucleus of who would want to see stuff like that. They want to see Justin Jefferson in his chains and his shades with big goofy hands on and doing something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a good avenue for the NFL, but no, they're trying to like make us take this seriously, and like we're just kind of like, no, you're not gonna force feed us bullshit,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean MLB has the home run derby, which I will set time aside to watch. I mean, I'm going out of my way to watch home run derby. I think that's like the most exciting like all star game thing you can have. And then baseball means something. If the AL
Yeah,
wins, you get home
yeah,
field advantage in the World
right.
Series. Like that actually means something. There's no really home field advantage with the Super Bowl, unfortunately. So maybe they incorporate that. I'm not too sure, but having it at the end of the year doesn't help anybody. And I'm not saying them to move it middle of the year, but they got to do some rethinking on all of these
I
Pro Bowl
think middle
games.
of the year could work. Middle of the year could work, right? Make it like a central bye week, almost. Well, I mean, you can't really do that because they don't
Yeah,
really have the time off. That's the thing.
yeah,
They're still working, so you would probably have to get. But they're looking at expanding the season anyway. They want to add more games,
I
so
hate
why
that.
not? I mean, I hate it too. But if you're gonna do it, why not stick the Pro
Yeah,
Bowl right in the middle of the season, and then everybody else gets one bye week, somewhere else in the season. You just kind of divvy it up that way.
yeah,
That way, and then also you can add stakes to it. You can say whoever wins the Pro Bowl, AFC or NFC, they get home field advantage, whichever team comes out. I feel like that would mean something. That
yeah.
would mean something. I don't know. It's just there's something that they could do, and I feel like something has to be in the works because the NFL is not the type of league to just kind of like sit back, at least not for too long, while things are not working. That's something that I've always respected about the NFL is that they actually will make changes. You know what I mean? Like they're not super stuck in their ways. In some ways they are, but in a lot of ways, when it comes to like making more money, they know how to like find different avenues in order to make that happen. So I think that they will probably adjust things in the next, I'd say 5 years or so, where I think we're going to see a big swing and a big change with the Pro Bowl.
I hope so. It just I'm not saying the NFL is losing viewership, but I feel like if there's a time for other leagues to catch up, it's right now because I haven't seen that much hype around the Super Bowl. I know we still have a whole week left, but there's kind of the storylines like nobody really wanted these two teams to be in there. That's from what I've seen personally and who I've talked to. It's like this is kind of I'm not really interested in it. So who knows? We'll see the viewership when it comes out. But yeah, man, it's Pro Bowl is very weak, unfortunately.
Yeah, Spooky J says here, not just the Pro Bowl weekend, but almost every sports All-Star weekend is getting boring. NBA All-Star weekend is cooked too. I mean, I can kind of agree with that because NBA All-Star weekend, I remember back when I was growing up, it used to be the stars would come out for the three-point contest. The stars would come out for the dunk contest. And oh yeah, by the way, when they played the All-Star game on Sunday, they were actually playing hard. They were playing for keeps, man. And I remember there was one of the All-Star games, I think it was maybe about 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago, somewhere in that ballpark, right? But they had changed it to a slightly different format for the All Star game, for the NBA All Star game, where you had, I think it was like a point total or like a point cap or something like that. And the first to reach like a certain amount of points wins. And that was the last time I saw the All Star game be actually competitive, you know, and it only really got competitive in the second half because those guys wanted to win. But you got to do something because we watch sports for the competition, right?
Yeah.
And if we're at the point now where the stars, the biggest stars of each respective sport, don't feel like it's an honor anymore to come to the All-Star weekend, the Pro Bowl, the home run derby, whatever you want, right? If they no longer feel like it's an honor, you have to pivot off of it. You got to do something different. You got to try something different. And again, that's why I hope that the NFL kind of doesn't drop the ball for too long on this one. And I hope that they kind of change gears and do something a little different. But again, man, I think Spooky J is right here. It is declining on all fronts. I mean, you look at the dunk contest this year. We're excited because Mac McClung is going to participate yet again. You know, when like we could be having guys like Zion in there, you know, Anthony Edwards in there, but no, that's just not our reality anymore. We have to watch these guys play. Mac McClung, I don't even think he gets playing time. You know, I haven't been following the NBA, but I don't even think he gets PT. If I'm being honest with you, if you guys know any difference in the chat, let me know. But I don't think that guy really plays. He just only time I ever hear his name is dunk contest season, you know, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to the NHL All Star little mini break. I'm just getting into that sport. You know what I mean? Like they have something. I have to agree with Drake here. MLB All Star Game is probably the best. Yeah, their weekend they have home run derby, the celebrity softball game, and then All Star Game. Which I mean, you're seeing Otani pitch to Judge, or you know, not stuff like that. You're seeing just like the best of the best go against each other, and that means something. If he gets a hit off of him, like that definitely means something. And you're seeing the best pitchers go against the best players. For the Orioles, say we had Gunnar Henderson in the home run derby, and that was a big thing for us. Like Pickles Pub was holding like a whole watch party downtown for the home run derby. You know, you're not holding watch parties for these All Star games elsewhere. So hopefully they get it right, man. Spooky J Mac McClung is in the NBA. He's in the G Leaguer. Wow.
Yeah. See, that's an issue. That's a big issue. Like, why are we bringing up G Leaguers just for All Star Weekend for the dunk contest? The Sprite dunk contest. And I don't even know if it's sponsored by Sprite anymore, but it really did. And I don't mean to keep saying it. It used to mean something. It used to feel like those guys were actually out there competing. And I don't know with the whole dunk contest thing. Maybe we're at a point now where we've seen so many dunks over the years. There's only but so much you can do. There's only but so creative you can get, right? But then you go on Instagram or you go on YouTube and you see guys who like dunk on YouTube for a living or whatever, just like as a side quest, a side hobby. And those guys are doing shit you've never seen before in the NBA. So like maybe it's time to go get like some guys off the street and maybe bring them in as competition for, you know, these NBA guys. I think the NBA guys will kind of stand up and be like, okay, we're not going to just like lay down and let y'all, you know, there will be some competition. You have to spark competition. If you don't have that, you have nothing. You have nothing. Yeah. I don't care what sport it is. But yeah. Thank you so much for clarifying that.
Yeah, it definitely used to mean something. And I remember it being a Sprite. I remember just because like the 2K games. You'd always see the Sprite replay. That's how I knew it. You're not going to have Dwight Howard hop out there with the freaking cape on or Blake Griffin jump over the Kia car. You're not Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon. You're not going to have that again.
Good times. Yeah. I mean, Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon was probably the last like competitive great dunk contest to watch, you know, and that was already so many years ago at this point. I think that was in pre-COVID.
Oh, yeah.
That was pre-COVID. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, man, they got to do better on all fronts. Yeah. They got to do better. Maybe it's just like a changing of the generation, but the league's got to adapt. All these leagues.
I mean, the kids got to add the freaking TikTok when they even keep their attention span. They probably can't watch the whole thing without that too. The attention span stuff is not to go on a rant, but that could
Yeah.
definitely be something too.
Yeah. But my thing is, man, you just gotta adapt.
Yep.
You're a multi-billion-dollar league. You have to adapt. You have to have smart people in these meetings making these decisions. Go ahead.
Here's my prediction, and this is my last thing I'll say. They're gonna bring like one of these big streamers out and jump over him at the dunk contest. Mark my words.
Bring like a
That's
Kai Cenat or somebody
yep,
like that. Yep.
yep,
I
yep.
could
There,
totally see it.
there's my bold prediction. They'll jump over one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I could totally see that. And I mean, but still, I mean, what? He's gonna jump over Kai Cenat or a Speed or somebody like that. I mean, those guys aren't even 6 feet. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like it would
yeah,
just be for fanfare. Like literally just
yep.
that.
It'll get tons of views online.
Yeah, man.
So.
One thing I do kind of enjoy for NBA All Star Weekend is the celebrity game that they do.
Yep.
That's always kind of fun. It's on a Friday night. Low stakes. There's not a whole lot going on. And if you're in the house, not doing anything for the night, you throw that on. You see freaking I don't know Kevin Hart and
Birdman.
Tatum out there or Birdman,
Yeah.
doing whatever. Exactly. Like doing, it's just Justin Bieber, I think has played in a couple of them.
Yeah.
Like those are
It's
always
cool.
fun to watch because it's like you never knew that some of these guys actually have a little bit of skill. And obviously they don't look anything like NBA players, professionals, but some of those guys have a little jumper and some of those guys actually prepare for it. And it's cool to see. So that is, I still think that, I'm not a big baseball watcher myself, but the fact that the stakes are so high with the home run derby, I would probably have to put MLB All Star Weekend at number one, and then I'll put NBA All Star Weekend at number two. But it's kind of like down there a little bit, right? And then under that, I don't know what hockey does. What do they do?
They do skills challenge. This is my first year really into hockey, so bear with. I've seen they do the skill challenge stuff, which is pretty interesting. I'm still putting that over. I've watched it once or twice. I'm putting it over the Pro Bowl games right now. I have to. The MLS skill game. They'll do the skill games, and then they'll have the MLS All Stars play like a team from overseas, and they played my team 2 years ago and got like 5-0. It wasn't good. They might be below. They might be below the NFL because it wasn't even a competition with their All Stars.
Yikes. Yeah. Let me see. Dre brings up a good point. He says Myles Garrett went crazy in one of those celebrity games. I do remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, Myles Garrett, he's just a physical specimen, man. I mean, a lot of those celebrities out there aren't stopping him on his way to the rim, and he can probably just body a whole lot of those guys. So I expected that one. But, I mean, again, that's why it's fun to watch. I'd like to see them get another NFL player in there this year. That'd be cool. Spooky J says Mac McClung has reportedly said he will attempt a 360 windmill dunk over Simply AS10 at the All-Star game.
News to me.
News to me.
News to me.
You about to get paid, bro. You about to get paid.
Oh man, I wish.
That's crazy. Spooky J, shout out to you. Okay, let's go ahead and shift gears here. Let's talk some Ravens.
Yes.
Since the last time we talked, there has been some coaching transactions, I should say. And the biggest one, we'll lead with this one. The Ravens bring back Chuck Pagano, former defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. They bring him in as the senior secondary coach. And this was interesting to me because I actually listened to the Pat McAfee interview that he had, I think the day after. And he was saying that, he was talking to Harbaugh and he was telling Harbaugh, hey, look, I have somebody for your coaching staff, if you would, hear me out. And Harbaugh said, okay, yeah, I'll get back to you. And Harbaugh gets back to him and he says, well, how are you feeling? You know what I mean? Like, you want to coach again? And Chuck is like, all right, sure. And the rest is history. So Chuck Pagano is back. My initial thoughts on it, I made a video about it the other day, I think. And I really like the move. I actually love it. I love the move because there was a big, for lack of better words, like a brain drain. We lost a lot of knowledge in the castle after losing some of those coaches, the Anthony Weavers and the Mike McDonald's and all those guys that we lost a couple of seasons ago in the past couple of seasons. Bringing in a Dean Pease, right, which we did in the middle of the season, this past season, and then bringing in Chuck Pagano now, I think we've got kind of like that lineage back, right? That old school Ravens defensive-minded coaching back in the building, right? And both of those guys kind of helping out Zach Orr as he continues his young campaign, his young career as a defensive coordinator or just as a coach in general. That's going to bode very, very well for our defense. And let me say this before I toss it to you. Chuck Pagano led Ravens defenses. They had some of the highest turnover rates in the history of the Baltimore Ravens. So it's just I would love to see him bring that element back to this team because that's what we're missing right now. Forcing no turnovers in the past couple of postseasons is killing us. So hopefully that'll help with that. But what were your thoughts on the Ravens bringing back in Chuck Pagano?
100% love it. If you don't love it or like it, I'm questioning you right now.
Yeah,
I definitely wanted us to even bring him in back when we let go of Wink because he was out there. 2020, that Bears defense, it wasn't obviously Triple Crown, but it was still a good defense. Obviously, he's familiar with Roquan Smith, was familiar with Eddie Jackson. We won't talk about that. But, he knows some guys, on the team already, which is big. And he knows his organization. And I watched his podcast with him and Harbs, I think, last year. Like, he didn't even want to leave. He left us after we lost, I think, New England in 2011, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, it was the
And
Colts. Yeah,
yeah, and he never wanted to leave us, but Harbaugh kind of pushed like, this is a really good opportunity to be a head coach, go and do it. And obviously beat them in 2012 that next year with, Luck as his quarterback. But as a guy who knows the organization, knows everything about it, and you can't have enough wisdom in there. It only will
yeah,
help us out. So yeah, I'm absolutely freaking love it. I was surprised by it, but this is one of the low key, things that I think kind of goes unnoticed by some teams or just in the NFL in general, and it can really make this defense that much better. And you bring up the turnovers, that's where we are lacking. If we can get one turnover in the game against the Bills, who knows what we're talking about? And I'm not trying to do
right.
hypotheticals, but that's all you really need is just that one turnover to really change the game. So if that could be the difference between a turnover or not, and you have him with a Nate Wiggins with a Kyle Hamilton who are only going to get better. With maybe we're going to draft another cornerback. That. I don't know if it's going to be day 2 or day 1. Probably day 2 to be honest.
Day two.
It
Yeah,
it only helps us out, or if day 1 if somebody falls because they love their BPA. But yeah, I absolutely freaking love it. Chuck Pagano, I mean, one of the best football minds out there. So I'm glad he's back in the black and purple. Freaking buzzing over it.
yeah. Me too. Me too. Dre agrees here. It says, I love bringing in Chuck Pagano. I was hoping to have him back as our DC before we got Zach Orr. So you were ahead of the curve here, Dre.
Yeah.
Shout out to you. But listen, man, I, again, we're sounding like an echo chamber here, but I think rightfully so because Chuck Pagano, he is kind of like the perfect fit for this Ravens coaching staff right now. Um, uh, talks about John Harbaugh and whether or not the Ravens should keep him, move on for him, or extend him. That's another story for another episode, I think. But talking about in terms of the defense, I think that Zach Orr is going to take a major step forward in his second year. Um, he's got the confidence now. He's got kind of like the knowledge of the game, speed, the feel of the game, things like that as a defensive coach. And I think that having those guys again, Dean Pease, and then also having Chuck Pagano right there to both help him out in kind of scheming this defense, we should see. And here's my thing. Here's my biggest thing, Alex. I think that what we can expect the most is a fast start next season. Now, I'm knocking on wood because anything can happen in this league, as we know. But this season, we were plagued by starting off 0-2 and then dropping a couple other games that we probably should not have dropped. A lot of that had to do with our defense being so bad for so long, for 10 weeks pretty much, 2.5 months. So, and that led to us not getting the 1 seed or even the 2 seed. Because I think,
Yeah.
honestly, if we play the Bills at the bank, I think we beat the Bills that day. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just being honest with you. That's what
Oh,
I
you're
think.
right.
So, yeah, I mean, for seeding purposes, you got to get those wins early. You can't lose to teams that you should not be losing to, like the Raiders and the Browns. You can't drop those games. You just can't. So, with the defense kind of shoring itself up right now, I think we'll be good going into next season for sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
and I just put up his stats right here as a DC. His only year as a DC, we were third in the NFL
mm,
defensively. That was his only year as our DC. The 3 years prior, he was our secondary coach. So that goes to show what he did with his team. And even I pulled up when he was with the Bears in 2019, they were the fourth ranked defense in points. Then in 2020, that year, they did drop to 14th, but they had still a better top half defense,
mm-hmm.
and that was with kind of a pretty mid offense with Mitch Trubisky in them. So I I'm just loving this all around, and I don't see any negative to it. There's no really possible negatives to it. It's just him making guys around his team better. So I'm all for it. Um, yeah, just hoping that his expertise can maybe make our guys catch the ball. Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, agree there. Or, I mean, force some fumbles. Give us something,
That's it.
you know? You talk about, draft and whether or not we're going to go day 1 or day 2 for a corner. I'm looking at edge day
Yep.
1, if we can go out there and a guy at edge falls to us that makes sense, that can wreck a game, like we've seen him do it a couple of different times in college in a couple big spots, I say go for him. And I haven't done like my deep dive on the draft prospects and things like that. I normally don't do that until after the Super Bowl is over and there's literally no NFL football to watch anymore, or to anticipate. So, I'll get into that a little bit later. And then also we got to get Jason from Huddle It Up Films back on the
Oh
show because
yeah.
he's real big on that. He's real big on
Oh
that.
yeah.
So we're gonna have
Oh
him on
yeah.
definitely during draft season. Shout out to him, by the way. But yeah, a large fry says maybe it's just me, but Sutton's mic is way lower than Simply's. Oh man, I thought you guys said I sound good. I just turned up the volume a little bit once I saw that comment.
Hopefully that
So
works.
let me know. Yeah, hopefully that works. Let me know if I sound a little bit better, large fry. But yeah. Okay. What else? Alex, what else do we have? I think it was linebackers coach.
Yes, linebackers coach. We did part ways with him. Unfortunately, he actually was at the Bears when Roquan was there. Let's be real, really didn't work out. Our linebacker
Mm-mm.
play, personally, subpar.
Subpar. Yeah.
There we go, right there. I mean, we describe it the same way. Obviously, Roquan to me, I don't think he was the best. I don't think he was a top 3, top 4, maybe even top 5 linebacker. We really didn't see the plays he was making last year. Unfortunately, Trenton Simpson didn't pan out to what we wanted him to be. Chris Board came in and got to tip my cap. He played very well, but it definitely was time for a change. So I'm looking forward to see who we can get in there. Hopefully, we can get a good linebacker coach in there and elevate this linebacking play. But think that's so far. Oh, we did part ways with our assistant head coach and pass game coordinator. He was been with
Yes.
us since like 2012. They're gonna let him go and find somewhere else. But I think that's kind of good because, to me, it opens up. Maybe a guy like a Chuck Smith maybe could get a little bit of a promotion. Give him an incentive to stay here. Nobody really has interviewed him. Thank you. Or T. Martin. Thank you. I definitely
Right.
want to keep those guys, but it doesn't look like there'll be a huge turnover in coaches next year compared to last year. So that's some good news for the Ravens.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I kind of like it. I think I saw somebody say the other day on Twitter. They said that all these coaching changes are happening now because maybe, and this is all speculation, right? Fan speculation, but maybe Steve Bisciotti gave John Harbaugh an ultimatum like, hey, if you don't win a Super Bowl this season, then we're probably going to just go ahead and part ways and just move on. Um, so maybe this is John Harbaugh's last ride. Maybe this is his last final swing to make things. I don't know. That's just speculation, but there's no way that Harbaugh is not on the hot seat. There's no way that his seat is not at least a little bit warm, right?
I mean, you got to think about like with his talent and falling up short. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking at our special teams coach Chris Horton. Our special teams has been abysmal, and that's not
Yeah.
even trying to put it lightly. Abysmal. People are saying you signed Deontay Hardy, but personally, I knew what he was: a soft tissue I word, a walking soft tissue I word. Unfortunately, I followed him. And then you throw, Keaton Mitchell back there. He wasn't really healthy. You can't put Justice Hill back there considering how important he was for this offense. So I'm looking now like when you're drafting maybe day 3, maybe you're looking for your next possible kick returner or slash running back slash receiver. I'm not too sure, but you've got to get some more spark from these returns. You can't have the offense go 80, 85, 90 yards every single drive. You need something.
Short fields. You need short fields. And that's why you also need turnovers as well.
Yep.
Special teams and turnovers. I mean, we've been lacking in those 2 departments, especially in the playoffs, and it showed up, and it hurts. It hurts really bad. And, it just makes it even more incredible that Lamar Jackson was able to go 88 yards at the end of that Bills game in the snow on the road without his top 2 wide receivers, right? It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. The more I think about it, I mean, he's a phenomenal player. But I was thinking about Justice Hill. You brought up Justice Hill really quick. What a year from Justice
Yeah.
Hill, right? And
Yes.
it's such a shame that like this one got wasted, right? Because I don't care how anybody else sees it. If you do not win the Super Bowl, the season was not a success. It was not. Okay. I think Eric DaCosta came out and said it like he thought it was a successful season. Maybe that's just him trying to be like forward facing and positive and things like that, optimistic, glass half full, whatever. But no, I mean, you play this game to go out and win a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think for teams like us, yes, if I'm the Broncos, I think they had a success because I don't think either of us had Bo Nix lead them to the playoffs. You know what I mean? If I'm maybe a Panthers fan,
I
seeing the
might have.
Bryce Young development might be a success. But for the Ravens to crash out in divisional, we're a step behind of where we were last year with
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, with the defense playing the way it was, to me, yes, it is a failure.
Yeah.
And to
Take a
waste, like you
step
said,
back.
a Justice Hill, like, do you really think he'll have this the same year, if not better, next year? It's hard to say that, and that's unfortunately how it goes. Um, Defensively, I think we'll be better next year, like you said, from jump, and maybe we win a couple more games instead of the ones we lost, i.e., the Raiders game. I don't think we lose that game if we have the second half defense this season playing, but that's why we
No.
play the game. So I'm right there with you. I do think it was a failure.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And again, hopefully the team is going to make a lot of adjustments this season. I mean, this off season, because I think just running it back and expecting a different result is not going to it's not going to get it done. Now, what I will say is that I do like keeping Todd Monken. Todd Monken is looking like he's going to be extended. Zach Orr, of course, is going to be in the fold again. So keeping the continuity on offense and defense, I think, will bode well for this team. Of course, we needed to go in a different direction, special teams, like you said, and then also just for the defense in terms of bringing in Chuck Pagano and helping this defense maybe for some more turnovers. That's going to be absolutely huge for this defense as well, for this team overall. Let me see. Slicer59 makes a comment in here. It says the Ravens lacked in turnovers because they are not coached up to take the ball away. They're coached up to play coverage, soft, and safe. And on top of that, let average QBs carve up the middle of the field. I can see that. I
I
can
can't
see that,
argue
yeah.
with that. The same reason Gardner Minshew is 2-0 against us the past 2 years at our own home.
Insane.
You play soft, and they're just finding the open guys. There's
Right.
no pressure. There's no type of press. You're just giving them 5-10 yards of cushion, and you get the guy. You get your ball to your talented receivers. I don't care who they are. It's the NFL. They're talented there, and they're there for a reason. They're going to make plays, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, and Love West follows it up by saying here, I think forcing turnovers has more to do with the players than it does with coaching. We pay all these big name players that don't make things happen in the biggest of moments.
Yeah.
I can agree with this too. I mean, we just got done talking about Roquan Smith, right? Who, I mean, he was what, top 5 in tackles. I want to give him his flowers for that.
Yeah.
But as a linebacker, it's kind of expected for you to be kind of up there, especially one of his caliber. But simply, you just got to make more plays. You got to make more plays, man. Force some turnovers, punch a ball or two out, something like that, right?
I mean, I don't want to be that doom and gloom Ravens fan, and trust me, I do like Roquan, but let's look at Zach Bond, and let's just be real with ourselves. Zach Bond is every single play, every game it feels like I hear his name. Roquan, no punching the ball out, maybe a tackle for loss here and there, but Zach Bond, I feel like I hear his name every other play. It's unbelievable. That's all we're asking for. That's why we paid you 100 million, USD, is to make plays like
Right.
that in the biggest games. And to be honest, we haven't seen it.
Yeah, Dre hits the nail on the head here. Like I was just saying, I want to see Roquan force more fumbles. Yeah,
Yeah.
we got to see that, man. We got to see that. I mean, I really do respect Roquan Smith and his knowledge of the game and things like that. I mean, I can remember who was it, Lane Johnson or somebody earlier this season, somebody from the Eagles, I want to say it was, were saying that Roquan Smith was calling out their plays and knew exactly what they were running before they were running it. And like it was scary. And like that guy's really, really good. He's really, really smart, very, very instinctual, but he's just not finishing the plays as consistently as you would want. He's not as much of a game wrecker as you would need him to be,
Yeah.
and that's another reason why we want to bring in a guy on the edge, right, who can kind of get to the quarterback and muck up some of these plays and don't let these average quarterbacks, right, or even some of the best ones, don't let them just tee off on you. Don't let them tee off on you. And I was right. It was Lane Johnson. So, yeah. Yeah, man. Lots of talk there. Lots of coaching talk. So, all right. I think we're through the coaching talk. It's time to get into the tough part of this episode, right?
Elephant in the
Elephant
room.
in the
The
room.
the type of topic where you look at your friend and you're just talking through eyes. You know what I mean? You don't want to bring it up, but I guess we might as well bring it up. Um, Our kicker, number 9, Justin Tucker. Report came out, Baltimore Banner. I'm gonna try to be good with my words here. Don't want to say anything wrong. Was accused, and this is was accused of is sexual misconduct a good way to say it? I don't want to get us banned either. I don't want to get us banned. I don't want to get anything bad happen to the channel. Accused of from I think 6 masseuses in and around the Baltimore area. Yeah, we can't go one off season without just no drama, no freaking drama. And what's weird about this is people brought think about them receipts. They'll find them on that Bird app. And I saw 2021. People were kind of hinting about this, and scary because it's something this has been around, obviously. So yeah, that's what happened. There's a whole article. I'm not going to go in detail of it because I don't really want to. And if you want to look for it, go ahead. I'm not going to tell you not to look it up. But yeah, with that being said, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I feel like we have seen him take his final kick in the NFL. I'll be honest with you, and I think we will be in the market for a new kicker.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that. I definitely do think that the Ravens will go out and be intentional about either drafting a kicker or bringing in a guy during the offseason and kind of shaping him up to take his spot, because allegations as serious as these, they just don't just go away, right? There's going to be a full-scale investigation launch now. So Justin Tucker, I know you're not listening to the show right now, but if you thought it was bad that the Baltimore Banner was investigating you and trying to pull your card a little bit, the NFL is going to do a full-fledged investigation and figure out and get to the bottom of the situation. So again, right now they're allegations, so we can't damn him and say oh, this absolutely 100% happened, because on the other hand, Justin Tucker released a statement, I think 30 minutes to an hour after those claims, that news really broke. And he basically he vehemently just denied it. He denied those claims. Absolutely not. I would never. All of that. I mean, the guy wrote literally a whole page in a novel, right? Worth of explanations here. And for me, I didn't even read through the whole thing because it's just kind of I ain't reading all that, bro. Happy for you, or sorry that happened. You know what I mean? It's one of those sort of things. But because it's just should you really have to do this? Why are you in this position to begin with?
Yes.
Right? Why are you in this position to begin with? And I'm always I always say wherever there's smoke, there's probably fire, And this smells like one of those type of things. And also you heard the news about, and this was well-known news, he was going through a divorce, right? Had some issues, I think cheating on his wife or something like that. So it's just that doesn't make it any harder to believe, So it's just man, Tuck, man. It's tough. It's tough. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Dre says, this is wild. Regardless if it's true or false, his reputation is absolutely ruined. Yeah. Agreed. And, if it is true, if all this is true, then I think it might kind of explain some of his struggles that we saw this season, because if you're dealing with something mental, in the back of your head, okay, shit might hit the fan with this situation soon, your mind's not going to be fully dedicated to football and your job and what you got to do. I mean, that's just any of us. When you're going through some crazy shit in life, not to say that any of us have been through in a situation like this, but we've all dealt with crazy situations in life before, where we know shit's going on in life, and it's hard to focus on your job in times like that. It kind of is. So, man, I think that might have something to do with it. But what do you say?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't want to say how I feel because I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I do feel a certain way about this. It's rather disgusting. If you read through the whole thing, I had to stop because I'm all right, you know what? I've read enough. I know what I don't need to see. I don't need to read the other 4 or 5 accounts if they're just as bad as this one. And it's like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire, and that's definitely a reason why. I think somebody put up his post game speech after that freaking Eagles game, and he just looked like he hadn't slept in days. It was obvious he just didn't look healthy. And this is a guy, smiling on Royal Farms commercial, singing opera, all that stuff, and it's just not the same guy. And very wild, and of course it had to be us. I saw Javon Holland was posting like memes on his Instagram. Like that's your another player, posting that, which is crazy. Um, but to even be in this position in the first place, like you said, it's just not a good sign. So with that being said, on the positive, if he's let go, which I think he should be,
Yeah.
the Ravens have a very good track of getting kickers. You can look at a resume of who we've brought in. It'll be a drop off, but it's not going to be we're not going to be getting 10 for 20 kicker. So it's just a very bad situation.
He's gonna have to be dethroned from the GOAT Ravens kicker, and we're gonna have to put Matt Stover right back up there if this holds true, because it's just
Yeah, yeah,
you can't respect it. Like you said, it's disgusting. It's
yeah,
vile. Like it's just why. Like I'll never understand. I was talking to one of my friends about it yesterday, who's actually a Steelers fan. And he was like kind of like taken aback by the whole situation. He was shocked, as was I. And I was talking to him. He was saying like, you know, he doesn't get why these athletes who got all this money and whatnot, like obviously you don't have to struggle, you don't have to like coerce, you don't have to try to take advantage of somebody to get these type of favors, right? If this is what you're looking for, you can easily get that and pay for it, do it the whatever way you want to do it, right? And just go on about your business. But like the fact that you have to kind of like make somebody feel uncomfortable and like trick somebody into thinking they're like, oh, they're just performing a service on me, but like no, I'm actually gonna like reveal my ulterior motives as time goes on and like really make you uncomfortable. That's gross. It's absolutely gross. I can't stand for it at all, which is why I'm not with all this like innocent till proven guilty shit.
yeah.
Because again, like I said before, where there is smoke, there is fire. There's no reason. There's no reason at all why you should ever be in this position.
Yep. Yeah, and the same way I felt about Deshaun Watson, unfortunately, I'm going to treat it the same way as Justin Tucker. Um, one girl could be lying. I don't care. Like it's they don't know each other, and it just sounds all way too familiar. And it feels like to me that like he did clean up his act to a point. And that's like, oh, like he was taking pictures and this and that. Like, okay, but it still happened. I don't care if you clean up your act. It's still disgusting. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a great way to tarnish your legacy
Yeah.
because when you think of best kickers of all time, you honestly think of him. He still has the record for the longest kick. As a rookie, he kicked a field goal in overtime against the Broncos. It's it's a bad way to go out. He was a really good personality and just feels like you don't even know who he is anymore. Kind of. That's how I feel. I thought I knew, but
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, man. It's sad. It's sad because ah, man, rough topic, right? Very tough topic.
Yeah,
You really don't like to see things go this way. Now, what I saw a lot of people saying online was that, did the Ravens know about this beforehand? Like leading up to it, because they still haven't released a statement or anything like that. We don't know if they're making their, doing their own investigation privately or whatever. But you think that the Ravens knew about this before?
yep, 100% too. And this is where I'm kind of falling. It's not with the players; it's with the organization because there's just no tolerance policy, and we won't draft players because of a certain reason, and we've seen it. But it's obvious sometimes. EDC admitted he didn't do his background homework. It was his first year on Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas was known around the league as a head case. You know, you sign them. You don't draft certain players because they have off the field stuff. But there are players who have had off the field. I'm not going to name names. I just don't want to do that. You can do your own research on this team active that have had stuff, thrown their way. Um, I think because it was Tucker, they're going to, say he's been with us and they trust him, and it's probably a one-off thing. But I 100% absolutely believe that they knew. I believe the head coach knew. I believe the front office knew. Um, I 100% think they knew.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I honestly can't call that. I can't call it. Only reason it's hard for me is because who would have tipped them off? Like, did did the individual massage therapist go to the Ravens organization, or is it just coming to a head now because the Baltimore Banner decided to pick up the story and start doing their own investigation, and then they post it on their platform and it starts to circulate around the NFL world? I don't know, right? But if they did, that explains a lot.
Mhm.
That explains a whole lot. It explains why, because I do believe in karma. I believe in, the bad juju. God doesn't like ugly. I believe in all that, you know. And for us to like be losing these games and like be in these situations, from the Tuck struggles to just the playoff, just the weird losing in the perfect way where it's just like, how did we magically end up losing again? Like, why is the world team against us? That could have some shit to do with it. And like, that may sound ridiculous, but like, to me, it's just like, you get what's coming to you, you know?
Yeah. You 100% do, and I hope it's not true. I really do, but like I said, I'm not going to do the whole innocent until proven guilty, because just when you use all the context clues and you really do go back and do some deep digging, why was stuff being said 4 years ago?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why is it coming out now? And so, apparently, it's kind of a hotter topic, from what some people like, from sources. I saw another beat writer, I think he got tipped off. If people are getting tipped off, they had to know. And it kind of, to me, I don't know who knows, but if the head coach did know, I don't want to be too radical, but I feel like you got to go. If you knew about something this serious, what else have you been hiding? And it's just kind of disgusting in all aspects, because if I am a woman, I don't want to speak for women. If I'm a woman trainer, in that
Mm-hmm.
locker room, how do
Mm-hmm.
I feel? And I know they said that he's been nothing but good, but from 2012 to 2016, this happened. I'm going to go to your point, karma. 2016, Antonio Brown over the line. 2017, Tyler Boyd. 2018, playoff loss. 2019, playoff loss. 2020, playoff loss. 2021, I-word. 2022, playoff loss. 2023, playoff loss. 2024, playoff loss. KP, that's who I was talking about. Yep, that's exactly who I was talking about. Benjamin Albright. Yep, you can go on his. Yep, they said it's, yeah. And he was one who was tipped off, I think, a couple of days ago before it all kicked off. Not by the Banner.
Benjamin Albright, NFL writer, has sources about the situation and said Justin has done this to more than 24 massage therapists, and their cases are going to come out soon. Again, that is an absolute sickness. That's a sickness. I mean, it's just, I don't even understand one or two, but 24 plus. Like, you are that is a serial. You can't. I don't understand it. I never will. I can't wrap my head around it. I'm really speechless about it.
Yeah, I don't even. I hate these types of the serious conversations, man, because it's just not fun at all. It's awful. So,
and my thing is, Rainmaker says here, I think Tuck is gone, and if Harbaugh knew, how about EDC? My thing is, if they were building a case and like this was like as serious as it is, then why wouldn't Steve Bisciotti know about it?
correct.
You know what I mean? Or the president of the team, or somebody, of importance. So I don't know. All we can do right now, and we'll leave it here with this, all we can do right now is just kind of wait it out and see what other information comes out here in the future. But I think me and Alex stand firm on the, where there's smoke, there's fire. And if this does come out to be true, then Tuck, you got to go. You got to go. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the tweets from, what's it called, from Albright, but basically there's oh, never mind. Sorry, I can't find that. I'm not gonna waste too many people's time. But if you don't want to find, go on Albright NFL's Twitter. You can scroll on down and you'll see talk about it. So,
Yeah,
it's tough, man.
yeah. And to put the bow on it, Love West says here, the thing about this, it's guilty or guilty. Even if they all say that he lied, they're gonna say that he still did it. his career is over. Honestly, it's just a stain on his reputation, a huge stain on his reputation. And unfortunately, the Ravens are not the Browns, and they're not going to re-up him for a crazy contract extension after all this news comes out. The Ravens are known as an organization that is no nonsense. So again, if they didn't know, or even if they did know, and now that it's coming out, they're gonna, of course, try to save face PR wise, get rid of him and excommunicate him from the team, all that, right?
So he put a tweet out, "Can't claim you didn't know until recently if multiple women contacted your organization prior to 2018."
Hey man, we may be seeing the reason why we fell flat on our face for so long, because again, you do some bad shit comes right back around to you. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Not even know about that guy, that NFL writer talking about it, but I'll look into his tweets after this.
Yeah. And we had like a no tolerance policy on Watson, and this is where my problem comes with Harbaugh, because he said that, and if they didn't know before 2018, that's my problem. Now you're just being a hypocrite. So
Yeah.
I know don't want to turn this in like Harbaugh slander, but that's just kind of the harsh reality of it. If they knew what they're saying and you just backed it, I can't defend you. I can't. KP, no nonsense organization. What a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. It's embarrassing, honestly, as a Ravens fan.
And like I said, I'm falling out of love with the organization because this is not the way it should be ran. Going back to Ray Rice, it had to take them for the video was released to the public to release them.
Yeah.
I believe they knew what happened personally. So
yeah, Slicer brings up the timing on it. Came out right after the season ended.
Yes. I saw somebody said they were trying to push it, like trying to make them push it back, and I was talking about this was on my damn like good thing we aren't in the Super Bowl.
Oh man. Yeah.
Imagine being on Radio Row, and this came out.
Right.
You thought Lamar's trade requests before your meetings, Harbaugh, was bad? It's I don't want to go this way, but these were the same people posting Lamar Jackson mishaps on all 22 inside the Ravens organization, but now you're dead silent about this during contract negotiations, saying he shouldn't be making more than Dak Prescott. I'm not going to name what writer said that, but they do work for the Ravens. That's a big problem with this too. Double standards. Call it spade a spade.
Yeah, man. Truly an ugly situation in all facets, man. It's terrible. But I think we're going to go ahead and leave it there for that segment and this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 297. Again, we want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming out to this one. It sucks to end on some heavy topics like that, but it is what it is. I mean, we've been covering this team for almost 5 years now, and sometimes these things just happen, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate that it has to happen to us this time around, but we got to wait around and see how this all ends up shaking out. So, with that being said, we're going to let you guys go. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. As you guys know, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we do go live every Monday and Thursday. I know today's Friday, but we normally go live every Monday and Thursday. So that is the normal timing of it, just so you know. But make sure you subscribe to the channel. Also, like this video, guys. Like this video on YouTube. If you're watching on X, maybe pop over to YouTube, like the video. But appreciate you if you're watching on X as well. And a big shout out to the Replay Gang, the hashtag Replay Gang. Thank each and every one of y'all for coming through. If you're not watching this one live, we love you guys just as much. So, again, my name is Sutton Def. You can follow me at Sutton Def on pretty much anything. And this is Simply AS10 over here. You can follow him on Simply AS10 on Twitter and Simply AS10.prod on Instagram. And then, most importantly, like he led the episode with, Manscaped. You can go on manscaped.com. You can still, we've been saying this for a while. If you're not listening, you better hop in on this. 20% off your whole entire order on manscaped.com. They've got some, actually, you know what? I got to get some more Manscaped too now I'm thinking about it. I'm almost out of my my shampoo conditioner. I got to get some more. Yeah, I'm going to use the code PRP, save myself 20% for international shipping. You already know what it is, man. Yeah. So, yeah, again, thank each and every one of y'all for coming through. And with that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through on this Friday evening of the Purple Rain podcast. We love you. We appreciate you. And as always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes, and never, ever, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's from episode 297 of PRP. We're going to catch you guys in the next one.